can be only one podcast, and may it be the Princess of the Universe. Hi, folks, I'm Matt, and here we go. The last of the Highlander book reviews. We're doing it all. But first, of course, I got to yap a little bit about something else. You know, I talked about why shouldn't they reboot the series or kind of do something different, or I don't know, just something different just to kind of continue Highlander. Why is this franchise kind of dead? I wanted to add to that. Why don't we have any good Highlander games and toys? Well, I guess I know I can't have toys because their heads would have to fall off, and they'd probably have a problem with that. But, I don't see, and I mean, not that you need Halloween costumes, but I think it would kind of be fun. You get some swords, give them a trench coat. I guess you're the Highlander. Doesn't make much for Halloween. It's kind of weird because as much as I've grown up loving Highlander, not once did me or Bruce was my roommate for years, we never thought about being the Highlander or Kurgan or whatnot. That would have been a good idea. It would have been cheap. All you need is a sword and a trench coat, and you go as a immortal. It's easy. Something simple. That's what we want. But my favorite Halloween costume I ever wore, it's a tie, now that I think about it. I really enjoy Jedi Knight. I was a Jedi Knight. My wife got me this nice, sweet Jedi Knight robe. And with the year that they bought Disney, I was going to be a Jedi Knight anyway, because that's the year that she got me the robe. And then the day before, they'd announced that they'd sold themselves to Disney. Well, I had some Mickey ears, so I just was a Jedi Knight with Mickey ears. It was the last time I laughed about Star Wars being bought by Disney. Yeah. But that was a fun one, and I really liked it. Really looked good, especially with I had an old Obi-Wan Kenobi from Episode 1 outfit. And it actually looks, the clothes creases, the brown creases on the tan clothes were kind of, screen printed on there. But, you're wearing it with the Jedi robe. It really looks good. And then the other one that I really liked, maybe my favorite, was Calvin and Hobbes. We went as Calvin and Hobbes one year. My wife dressed up in a tiger suit, and then I had the crazy blonde wig and the striped shirt, and I wore black shorts, and simple but great and original. No one does that. I loved it. I love that one. Those are probably two of my favorite ones there. There's a couple others that were good, but those two, my favorites. Now, growing up, we never really dressed up. We never really celebrated Halloween, which is why it's not one of my favorite holidays. But I remember we did, our church did Reformation Day, and now they celebrate All Saints Day, but Reformation Day, same time. If you grew up in church, you had the same thing too. You went to the church. It was a trunk Halloween. You go to people's trunks, get the candy, or what we did, they played games and had prizes, which, to be honest, was really fun. Playing all those games and just getting a prize. I remember doing that for years when we were kids, and one of my favorite ones, for some reason, was bobbing for apples. Can you imagine that now? That'll never happen, ever. But bobbing for apples, man, was super fun. Just they had a big old wash bin, metal wash bin, and they threw a bunch of apples in there. And you think that'd be easy, but it wasn't. But it was so much fun. I don't know, the water was cool on you. I don't know, I just really enjoyed bobbing for apples. We thought it was so much fun. But who wants an apple, right? But it was fun going for them anyway. You're trying to get just one of them. That's something they don't do anymore. They don't bob for apples anymore. And back in the day, there were some places or some of the ladies would give you candied apples for Halloween. That was a big deal, I remember, because if your mom was known for making candied apples, look out! You're a Halloween hotspot there. I remember one year there was these parents that pulled over into our church. They were dressed as devils. The horn, pitchfork, the red tail, and their son was dressed as a little devil. So I guess they were just a family of, Satan worshipers. Anyway, so the little kid gets out, and they let him pee in the front yard of the church. And you got to think that's a little sacrilegious, right? Sure, peeing in public is a bad thing, but peeing on church, private grounds is kind of bad. But doing it when you're in a devil suit? I remember sitting there going, "Oh, you going to hell?" That's what I thought. I was like, "Look at that!" That's bold, man. That's bold for the parents to say, "We're just as devils. We may as well pretend to be devils. Let's piss on the church front lawn." I swear to you, that's what they did. I watched the parents take their kid out there. He unzipped his pants and he just pissed all over the floor. I was like, "Well, I ain't running out there." That's what I thought. I remember that though. That was crazy, man. That was one of my early Halloween memories. I don't know what my earliest Halloween memory was. Probably when we were kids. My grandmother came in and she gave us mask. She'd always buy us Halloween masks. We didn't celebrate Halloween, and I don't think she understood that. But she'd bring Halloween masks, and sometimes they were really scary. Sometimes it was Batman and Robin, which, by the way, I absolutely loved it. I almost suffocated to death in that Batman costume. It was the old, plastic, cheap little, rubber band mask, but I wore it all the time because I could be Batman in that mask. But it was so friggin' hot in that mask. But I would not take it off. I'd sit there and sweat just so I could look like Batman, because I had Batman PJs, and that was just the perfect thing. And I was so upset when the little rubber band broke, probably like a week later. But dude, I got my money. My grandmother got her money's worth out of that mask, and then my brother had a Robin mask, I remember. So we played Batman and Robin. Then my other little brother, he got Superman, and because he had Superman PJs, so he got to be Superman. But we didn't care about him. Batman and Robin were the coolest. And then one year, I remember she got us these really scary. It was like a bear, just a rabid bear and a rabid wolf, and the wolf was white, and they looked really scary. And my dad was like, no, like he did not want us having those. But we were so excited, and we got to keep them for as long as my grandmother was there. The moment she left, those things were gone. Dad took them away, but he had to let us play with them, since he didn't want to hurt his mother-in-law's feelings. So what we would do is we snuck them up. We all slept in bunk beds, and me and my older brother were in the top bunks, and my youngest brother was in the bottom bunk. And so we stuck them under our beds, and you see where this is going. And then we'd slip them on very quietly when the lights were off, and I'd hold up my fingers, 1, 2, 3, and then me and my brother would just go down there. We'd say, "Hey, Bray," and he'd go, "Yeah," and then we'd just tuck our heads in there with the crazy scary looking mask. We'd go blah, and he'd scream bloody murder, and we'd rip the mask off, shove him under our pillows, and go, "Bray, what's wrong, Bray?" And so my dad comes in and says, what's going on? And my little brother's going, monsters. He said, "Are you scared?" I was like, "No, we're not. Bray, what's wrong?" We were totally faking it. And then we got too bold, and we did it back to back. Like the moment Dad left, we did it again. And Dad for sure knew something was up, and he searched our beds, found the mask, and we never saw him again. That was funny. But yeah, that's about all my childhood memories are of trick-or-treating. It's mainly being at the church and playing games. But to be honest, it was a lot of fun. It was a whole lot of fun. Anyway, got off the subject there. Getting back to Highlander. Highlander doesn't have much in memorabilia or extra stuff you can buy. Like there used to be a collectible card game. At one time, I saw a complete collection on eBay, but I didn't want to pay that much. Plus, it was a card game, and I'm not into card games. And this is back when the collectible card game was big, when Magic was big, and everyone was doing a copycat. So Highlander, of course, did a copycat. It didn't look that good. I just tried to convince myself it was because I wanted something Highlander. And then about a year or so ago, they came up with a Highlander game. It's from the first movie, but I was like, all right, I'm into it. And then I looked at the preview. I was like, that looks like garbage. And then after it came out, I said, well, let me give it a second shot. It probably wasn't garbage. It probably was good. No, it's still garbage. And they don't have the rights to Sean Connery's face, even though he was in the movie. So every time you see Ramirez, his back is turned. And it's obviously a double. It's not even Sean Connery's back. And I was like, and then there's another one, I think they show him to the side, and it's just a young guy playing Ramirez. You're like, wait, what? Because all of them are movie shots except for Ramirez. It really looks bad. And I'm like, why would you do the movie? The TV show, in my opinion, was way more popular. It had fans forever. And that no one wants to touch the TV show. I think you could make a good Highlander TV show board game. I don't know what you would do, but I think it'd be fun. Obviously, you'd have to fight, for a beheading, because there can be only one. But I don't know. I still kind of hold out for a good board game coming out. But there's really not much for Highlander at all. I still like the idea of the action figure toys, with detachable heads that you can slice off. That'd be awesome. Make a commercial out of that. Anyway, okay, so we're getting to the last of the books. Now, I'm going to talk about the last book in the series, and then I'm going to talk about a few unrelated, I say unrelated, other books, either unfinished or not technically, or definitely not canon, and then technically not canon or just not really good. One got released in Germany. I'll talk about all of these together, but the main one I want to talk about is Evening at Joe's. Now, this came out a long time later. And after the Highlander series had finished, I can't remember what the forward said, but it said something about it was the anniversary or something of the show, maybe 10-year anniversary was coming up or something like that. And they said, hey, we really ought to, get together and get the whole crew together to write a little book. And this was in the forward here, and it says they approached the editor. The editor approached the executive producer of the show. He said, hey, why don't we get the cast and crew to write a bunch of fiction, Highlander fiction? And the executive producer goes, oh, that would never happen. Well, this is the executive producer writing the forward. He went, so here are the fruits of my wisdom. And, kind of like I said it would never happen, but it did. Well, the fruits of your wisdom are going to make you look like a fool. All right, I'm just saying that, not trying to spoil too much. But Evening at Joe's, you have to have a lot of shots to enjoy this book. Not every story is awful, but a majority of them are. Some sadly are really gold, and I say sadly because overall it's a lot of garbage in there. But let's get to each and every one. I'll explain to you why it's garbage or why it's really good. So Evening at Joe's is a lot thicker, it's a lot longer, but it's bigger print too, so it's kind of hard to tell. It didn't take me that long to read because it's just a bunch of short stories with most of them being crap. So, but the thing is, it is bigger print, it's a bigger book. It doesn't go well with the rest of the Highlander TV series novels, which kind of irked me a little bit, because I like uniformity. Why didn't it do that? But this is a different publisher. It was probably self-published too. Maybe they had the rights to Highlander to do this. I don't know. It says Evening at Joe's, but it is a Highlander novel. And written by the cast and crew. And it has like actors and mainly crew that you've never heard of, like the sound mixer, the guy who holds the microphone, the boom mics and stuff, the cameraman or something. I don't know. They all explain who they are at the beginning, but if it gets to someone who's an actor, I'll tell you who it was. And they start off with Joe Dawson, the actor who played Joe Dawson, which I was really interested because he's going to write a Joe story, and he was writing a Joe story. It says letters from Vietnam. I was like, okay, Dawson was in Vietnam. Oh, and at the beginning, and this was really good. This was better than a lot of the stories. Was a behind the scenes look at these characters and what was originally conceived for Joe. And originally Joe was supposed to be a smarty, snooty little British guy. Which lends more rumor to the fact. There's the big rumor. Who started Watchers, Highlander or Buffy the Vampire Slayer? Because they both came out about the same time, and each one accuses the other of ripping them off. So, but Highlander's losing a little bit here if it's a snooty little British guy, because that's who Buffy the Vampire Slayer had as her Watcher. So at first he was going to be a snooty British guy, and Joe was only going to be in 4 episodes and then disappear. But they loved his character so much, they brought him back as a supporting character, which I think was a good choice because Joe Dawson is an interesting character, at times a little annoying, when he's stubborn and everything, and he and Mac have a rocky relationship here and there. That's annoying, but that was what it was meant to be. But their relationship overall was really good. So, Letters from Vietnam, Joe in Vietnam. Okay, I already know what this is going to be. It's going to be garbage, and I was right. Basically, Joe Dawson's writing to his sister and mom. It has nothing to do with Highlander at all. It's just that the actor, Joe Dawson, really loved Vietnam, and he just wanted to write letters. He just wanted to write it's first person, because when you can't write, you write in first person. I truly believe this. And so why don't I just write letters to Vietnam and how bad it is out here? How bad is in Nam? Obviously, he loves reading war books and biographies of Nam, and so he just wrote a few letters to his sister and his mom, how bad it was in Nam. Great. That was completely pointless. Thank you so much for writing that. The next one is it's Transform Bordeaux. And it's another, who knew, another first-person story, because no one can write unless it's first-person. That's why a lot of fan fiction sucks. It's all first-person, it's all garbage, but first-person is the easiest thing to write in, I guess. So I call them Dear Diary moments instead of first-person. But it's Mythos' thoughts. It's not even written by Mythos. It's Mythos' thoughts after the Horseman episode. So he's thinking about his 3 former friends and how they've grown apart and how they're gone now, and he's the lone person alive, and you're like, I don't care about this. And it feels like bad fan fiction. Bad fan fiction, okay? And at this point, I have a very bad feeling. I really did have high hopes. I really did think, the actors are going to write good stories about their characters, maybe a side story that'd be fun, maybe they got some people, maybe they knew some of their staff could write, and maybe that's why they wanted to do this book. No, they didn't. No one knew how to write. They just wanted to write a book. And why pay someone when we can just do it for free? Or pay everyone $100 for their crap story, and they get happy because their story gets in print, and they get happy because Highlander fools buy it and then get pissed off, and they don't have to hear about it. So really garbage here. But then we get to our first good short story. It's called Star of Athena, and get this, it's an Amanda story. I don't really like Amanda that much, but this was actually a good story. So she's hired to steal this necklace, and she doesn't know who, she doesn't care, the money's there, so she'll get the necklace. Now, it's being guarded by another immortal called Felipe, and I don't think he was ever seen in any other Highlander. I checked, I can't find a Felipe anywhere else who this could have been, so I guess it's just a made-up character that Amanda knows. And he knows Amanda's trying to steal it because he sees Amanda around. He's like, hey, look, don't even think about going after that necklace. I know why you're here. Shut up. She's trying to feign innocence. He's like, whatever. You're going for that necklace. I know you are. You're not going to get it. Well, she steals it, because she's Amanda. She can do that. Well, of course, Felipe immediately is on top of her, just like he promised he would. He hunted her down really quick. She didn't even get that far away. She gets back to her room, changes out real quick, and then Felipe comes in, searches the rooms, fights her for a little bit, but then they, both put away their swords, and he searches the room, and he just can't find it. And I'll leave a little mystery there. She hid it where he would never find it. But anyway, well, no, she didn't hide it. He finds a necklace that he thinks is it, but then realizes very quickly that's not it. It's a fake. She was going to do the old switcheroo. And so where's the real one? Because it was in the jewelry box, which couldn't have been the jewelry, but she's not that stupid. And then he finds out it's a fake one. So where's the real one? I will find the real one. He throws the fake one at her. Well, Amanda realizes the necklace is fake. The one she stole is a fake. It turns out that the Baroness, and she kind of knew this too. She put 2 and 2 together really quick. The Baroness who had hired her to steal her own necklace. She thought it was an insurance thing. No, it was the Baroness had sold the real necklace years ago for to settle a gambling debt, and was wearing a fake one this whole time, but wouldn't wear it anymore because she was so afraid people would see that it was fake. And this is a heirloom necklace that's been her family for generations. So she wanted to save herself from embarrassment, so just have Amanda steal it, and then pay Amanda whatever for it to steal it. But of course, Amanda knew she wasn't going to get her money back because the Baroness is broke. So it's kind of a neat little story. You'd think Amanda outsmarted the guy, but then no, it turns out that the real necklace was a fake, and Amanda put 2 and 2 together and figures out the mystery. A nice little short story. In fact, this is what the book needed. It needed a bunch of these type stories. It didn't have to be big, but about the characters, maybe have an immortal in it, have them do something, like they fought a little bit, but then, have a twist in the end. I thought that'd be great, but no, that's not what we want. So, the next one, written by James Horton, the guy who played James Horton, the villain from the second season. Awesome villain. I was really excited because, his was going to be on Horton, and it said, words to the Highlander. I was like, okay, no, first person, because that actor can't write either. So it's first, but this is so weird. It's his advice, Horton's advice to Duncan. I guess after he's dead? Horton wrote him a letter after his death. It's so stupid. It doesn't make any sense. And it's lame. I was so disappointed. But, again, the behind-the-scenes little intro about Horton's character was really good. It turns out that Horton was only supposed to be in 2 episodes. Like he was supposed to kill Darius at the end of the first season, and then the beginning of the second season, he was going to die. That was going to be it. But They loved him so much. They knew he was a good villain and good foil for Duncan that they kept him the whole season 2 before killing him off. And if you recall, they even brought him back a couple of seasons. The end of season 5, remember and then in the first episode of season 6, and that's because that was the demon storyline, the last good Highlander storyline. And the demon took many shapes, and it was taking shapes of all Duncan's former big bad villains, so to make sure the demon was the hardest thing Duncan's ever faced. And Horton was one of the images that it would take. And I'll be honest, it was just cool seeing Horton back. You're going, oh, there's Horton. Oh, I hate Horton. And he took Kronos' shape too, which was interesting. But Kronos, I think, and Horton were the big ones that he took a lot. And then Richie's later on. Ooh. But anyway, that was interesting. The story, garbage. Pure garbage. After reading Star of Athena, I thought, oh, good, all the garbage is gone. Nope. Here it comes. But then right after that, is a story called Pants. Now, Pants, okay, yeah, don't really care about that line. I was like, oh no, this is going to suck too. And then the writer does a little entry. He's like, I wrote this while watching the 96 Olympics on TV. And I was like, oh no, this is going to suck. And it's great. It's great. It's really one of the best ones. Basically, Duncan, Richie, Joe are all watching the 96 Olympics. Okay? And Mythos comes in and sits down on the couch. And then he starts telling them about the very first Olympics, because he was there. Of course he was there. And he goes, you know why the Olympics was created, right? He said, yeah, to see who was the best in the world. I was like, no, it was created to get chicks. It was to get girls. That's all it was. That's all it was. We were joking about it, too, back in the day. Like, girls are just going to go nuts for us. And it was hilarious, because he's kind of destroying the mythos of what the Olympics stood for and everything, and I thought that was extremely hilarious. And that's what even these type stories, I could do a lot of more of those stories, and Pants was a good one. So far we got 2 good stories and 3 bad ones. 3 bad ones. So we're not doing so bad, right? 3 bad, 2 good. I mean, 2 really good, but it gets worse. All right, so then we have, it's called Cassone's Diary. Octavia Cassone, who was a villain in season 5 that no one cares about, his diary is recovered by a watcher after Duncan killed him. So they just retread that episode with Octavia Cassone and his thoughts during that episode. Really dumb, complete waste of time. Then it's down towards the outflow. I don't know where they get these names, by the way. And this one, I don't know. It's completely incoherent nonsense. There's a lot of cussing, something about an immortal, and then seeing Duncan and Amanda, and then a quickening. And I guess the guy's on LSD when this happens. I don't know. It's just so incoherent. It's just such a mess. Obviously, they didn't have an editor go look through it and go, this is garbage. They just took it anyway. They're like, well, this will fill some pages. It's just garbage, outright garbage. Shoot, my little kids are 18 months old. They could write better than this guy. Just garbage. So there's 2 more for the garbage bin. We're 5-2 right now. Not a good batting average. The Mythos Chronicles is the next one. This is first person, but it actually is interesting because it is about Mythos. And if you don't recall, there was a Flash cartoon series with Adobe Flash called the Mythos Chronicles. And at first it starred the voice of Mythos. And then later on, fans finished off the original script on their own. And the art was really bad. I was shocked. This is back early in the days of internet. And so Mythos got convinced to do the voice for this. It was awful. But the music was kind of interesting, but this is kind of based off the Mythos Chronicles, what his early life was. And basically, this is his early years. There's a 4 Horsemen reference in there. It talks about his first kill ever with someone named Joseph. And then, I don't know, there's a lot of different things. He noticed, he witnesses other things, other immortals killing other immortals off, and mentions some people in the Bible too, which is kind of wild because he's been around forever. Abraham, Joshua, and stuff like that. And then it skips to 900 BC, where he just first discovered the Watchers. one of his watchers was Ruth, and he fell in love with Ruth, and she kind of, just let it spill. She's a watcher. So he found out about the watchers a long time ago. Now, he infiltrated them for a very short time and then left them. He had to, because, of course, in the storyline, he was doing other stuff in between. But he did marry Ruth for a little while. Well, I say a little while, for 52 years, but she was mortal and she died. And then he started studying with other immortals after that, kind of honing his sword skills. And, of course, he comes to the conclusion that the creator, that's all it says, the creator invented the game. So God invented the game or whatever. I don't know. It feels like mythos. It's rare that I enjoy a first person, and I was totally tuned out at first. But then it was mythos. I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And it was actually good. So here we go, 5 for 3. Still not at 500 yet, but let's see if we can get there. Spoiler, we won't. Okay, so From the Grave is written by Richie. It's another first person because and it's written by the actor Richie. And it's written first person because he can't write. And Richie writes goodbye letters to Mythos and Joe and Amanda and Mac and McLeod. And it's dumb. It's completely dumb. Plus, a little creepy knowing now what we know. If you don't know, Richie, the actor, died. He hung himself. I wonder if he wrote the letters for the actors after he hung himself. I don't know. Anyway, but From the Grave. Ooh, creepy when you think about it. So crap. So 3 and 6 here. Then you have a great one. So we're 4 and 6 now. Postcards from Alexa. If you don't know who Alexa was, she was in season 4. The episode was timeless. She's the girl who's terminal. She has terminal cancer. She doesn't have that long to live. Mythos is in love with her, and he takes her at the end of the episode to go see the world. Before she dies. She's weak, but she's beautiful. Now, she's mentioned in several episodes afterwards, because this is how they kind of took Mythos out of the story of the Dark Quickening in season 4. Mythos is really with Alexa, just going around the world. And so that's kind of how they got rid of him. Now, he comes in for one episode, and he talks about, hey, come on, man, I need to spend this time with Alexa. She only has a year or so to live. Now, fans absolutely loved her so much that in the fan film, Highlander Reunion, that had Mythos in it, he mentions his love for Alexa, because the fans just loved her. I thought she was a good character too, and it was an interesting storyline that she didn't have that long to live, but Mythos had forever. It gets kind of pointed that way. But anyway, it tells what Mythos was up to, where he and Alexa went, the time he spent with Alexa, going around the world. They got unofficially married, and it just explained where he was during episode 4. And guess what? It was written by Donna Leto, who wrote some fiction. So I guess they actually paid her to write something. That's why it was written pretty well. And afterwards, I'm not going to spoil it. It had a sad ending. So it's a sad ending there, but really good, really good. So 4 and 6 right now. And now here comes the bad. So in 7, it's called He Scores. It's a stupid hockey story. Duncan's on the ice playing hockey, and he kills an immortal with an ice skate. Not kidding. Just totally stupid. And it's kind of done as kind of a goof, kind of a spoof or something. Like they're announcing what's going on. It's the announcer talking about this Highlander hockey game. Dumb. Why do we have stuff like this in this book? Anyway, 7 and 4. Next up, one of the worst ones in the whole thing. It was written by Kronos. I was so happy, but then so upset because it's called The Staircase. It has nothing to do with Highlander. He just wanted to write a short story. I quickly realized that later on. Why even let him write? It's called Highlander, Evening at Joe's. But the actor didn't care about that because he said, well, can I write anything? They said, yeah, anything. So he got to write his own little short story called The Staircase. I even stopped reading it after a while. I said, this is garbage. We're 8 and 4 right now. Spoiler, I don't think there's anything else good in here. Anyway, the next one is Death Shall Have No Dominion. It's a story of Dracula, the vampire, being immortal. It's told by Mythos to Joe. And you're thinking, yes, this is great. No, it's boring. It's boring. It's awful. It's awful. Awful. Can't stand it. Total garbage. 9 for 4. Here we go. A Time of Innocence. This is written by Mythos, who, we find out, was supposed to be killed off in season 3, but again, they loved the actor so much they kept the character around. And this is supposed to be about the 4 horsemen and Mythos, but there's no name or connection to the Highlander anywhere in it. I don't even know if it was a Highlander story. Another big letdown. And I don't know where we are here, but this one's garbage too. It's called The Other Side of the Mirror. It's a story of, I'm not making this up, someone directing a Highlander episode with Adrian Ball. It's just a story. It's just a made-up story. Someone. Anyway, all right, so there you have it. There you have it. So should you get it? I don't know. I mean, there's 4 good stories in there. If this was online, I'd say pick out the 4 stories and delete the rest. I don't know. You can get this one for cheap too. This is super cheap. I know why, because a lot of it's garbage. But if you want to read just those 4 stories, let's see. Star of Athena, which is decent. Pants, which is hilarious but short. The Mythos Chronicles, not bad for a first person. And then Postcards from Alexa, which is actually really long. That's actually the longest one. They really padded their pages on that one, but that's because Donna Leto was the only one who was an author who knew how to write a story. So those are the 4. Because I was getting kind of impatient reading letters from Alexa or whatever. I was like, Postcards from Alexa. I was like, golly, how long is this? I was like, wow, I can't believe someone actually wrote this long a story. And then I realized it was Donna Leto, who was an author. So those are the only 4. Other than that, it may be skippable. But anyway, I've decided to save all the other stuff because that's going to be a long conversation. I'll save it for another episode. Hey, folks, I'll see you next time on Princes of the Universe.